Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of Wrestling the Starters. I'm, of course, your tantalizing host, Adrian Marchese, and am joined, as always, by Casey Fleming.
I summon Dark Magician.
And Rob Paul.
Zaza Pachulia is just a 6'11" glorified Rob Paul.
With a special appearance by a legend, Stouffville District Secondary School star and Wrestling the Starters NBA correspondent, Melvin Nolan.
Deion Jordan's the future of the NFL.
And today we're talking
Cavs sweep.
Warriors sweep.
Celtics Wizards.
Rockets Spurs.
the future of the Toronto Raptors.
The Cinderella Predators.
Game 7.
Game 7.
Game 7?
Kentucky Derby.
Beanballs.
Test your knowledge.
But first, let's get to our tweet of the week, and this week's tweet comes to us from @HunterHag, and she asks, if ghosts can walk through walls and glide down stairs, why don't they fall through floors? And before we rip this terrible tweet to shreds, Hunter is one of the hosts of the delightful She Reads podcast, so check it out if you're into books, but we're illiterate, so don't listen. What do you guys think of this tweet of the week?
It makes 0 sense.
Agree. Go off, Rob.
Ghosts. What do you mean?
I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
How could a ghost fall through stairs? What? What?
Well, how could they walk through a wall, though?
What do you mean?
Wow.
They do that by choice. Why would they choicefully fall through stairs?
Fall through the floor, first of all.
Wow.
Potatoes.
But you're absolutely right, Rob. Ghosts clearly can interact with the human world because they once were humans. They're smart enough to know. And they don't even glide downstairs. They can if they want to. But a classic ghost thing is footsteps on the stairs, Hunter. Come on.
I prefer tiptoeing through the tulips.
Wow. This is going great.
Deep breath. I'm very happy to have Melvin on. All right, Hunter, I hope you enjoyed getting ripped on the show. Tweet at us. Give us your tweet. Stupid takes, good takes, bad takes, hot takes. We take them all. Tweet at us. We'll take them all. And you can get yours read live on air. Not really. This is a recording. Let's move on. Let's get to some NBA playoff talk. And let's start in the West and the Warriors and the Jazz. 4-0 sweep. The Jazz won by 12 points, 11 points, 11 points again, and 26 points. The games were not close. They were on absolute fire. And what do you guys think about that series?
What do you expect? The Warriors have 4 All-Stars to rely on. On any given night, they can have 2 of their All-Stars take the night off and still have more All-Stars playing at a high level than the Jazz do.
Yep.
For 48 minutes, they can have 2 All-Stars on the court at all times, and they have the potential 6th man of the year in Iggy. Hell, even JaVale McGee is being great for them. JaVale McGee.
I also think the biggest problem with the Jazz was losing George Hill. He's really underrated. He runs that team.
Yeah, Dante Exum's okay.
The future?
He's okay, but losing Hill to the injury, he's the second best offensive player on that team, or second most important offensive player on that team after Gordon Hayward, obviously.
I mean, the Jazz are a nice up and coming team, but what's going to happen with Gordon Hayward this offseason?
Well,
that's a huge question for the franchise.
They need to retain him, and they need to give him a max contract because might not be a first team All NBA guy, but he's still an All-Star, and he's the key to their franchise making the playoffs. And they have really nice depth on that roster. If you go through it, they have 10 guys who I personally really like. And losing Hayward kills them. Bring him back, and they're a 45-win team, maybe even more if they can bring George Hill back as well. Mm-hmm. But that roster's nice. There's no way they can let Hayward leave.
Yeah, and Utah, it has to be a fan favorite. I know Utah likes their whites, so
him walking off the court the other night was really nice. They gave him a standing ovation, chanting Hayward, Hayward. So the fans, of course, want him back. Mel, any thoughts on Hayward staying or going?
I think they should try to keep him, but I don't think he's going to go.
Yeah.
I like him going. I like him going to the Celtics to be back with Brad Stevens. I just think he'd fit in perfectly on that team. But of course, the problem is they have so much depth. Like the Celtics have, they have Jaylen Brown and Rob. Who's the other small forward they have? Jay Crowder.
But
Yeah,
the
so,
thing,
that's
the thing with Brown looks like he's going to be a really good defender, but like maybe not the best offensive guy. Which Jay Crowder's a 3-and-D guy. So if they could bring Hayward in to be their offensive wing, and obviously he'd play more minutes than both those guys, they'd probably have to move Crowder anyway. But I agree. If Hayward's leaving the Jazz, I also think the Celtics is the ideal landing spot.
Boston also likes their whites there as well, so.
Oh no, that's a little hot, Casey.
Also, while we're talking Utah, why are they still the Jazz? That needs to. Really needs to.
This needs its own show.
Sense.
Rob, you can't bring
Jazz
this up.
is the coolest name in the NBA, next to the Pelicans.
But it makes no sense.
Well, it just doesn't make sense for Utah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the Jazz capital of the world. I don't know what you're
When they
talking
moved
about.
to Utah, it should have been like the Utah
Mormons.
multiple wives.
Yeah,
Next
see,
commercial idea.
we're on the same page.
The Utah sister wives.
Memphis should have changed their name and gave the Grizzlies to Utah. And even if Memphis was the Jazz or the Blues or whatever, like even that's better.
No, dude,
Anyways.
come on. I love Memphis. Don't
No,
mess
but
with the
there's
Grizzlies. I don't
there's
care.
no Grizzly Bears
this
in
is
Memphis.
different for me.
All right, this is getting off track. Let's move on to the other series in the West. The Rockets and the Spurs is tied at 2 apiece. Game 5 is tonight. Good math, thank you. Both have their blowout wins. The games haven't been too close, and both teams have been blown out at home and on the road. It's kind of been a crazy, unpredictable series. Where do you guys see the series ending up going?
Let me give it to you like a straight shot of whiskey. It's the old veteran ball featuring Kawhi versus the deep bombing new wave analytically based Rockets. And Kawhi has to carry the load on both ends for the Spurs to win. He needs to score 30 a game, but he also has to cover Harden all game. Think about how physically draining that is. And the Spurs, they can't really lean on anyone else offensively, so I just don't see any way that Kawhi can keep both ends of the court all-star level for an entire series. Harden, Lou Williams, Ryan Anderson, and Eric Gordon will be way too much for the Spurs to stop, and I think the Rockets take the series in 7.
And the three-pointer is the key for the Rockets in this series, I think. They've been nailing them. When they hit them, they're winning games. When they miss, they're losing games.
And the Spurs just don't have the offensive firepower perimeter game to keep up with them.
Fair enough. What do you think, Mel?
I like the Rockets team, but I just think in the playoffs, it's defense wins championships, right? And the Spurs are a much better defensive team. Kawhi has the ability to shut down Harden, which is, it's a hard thing to do, but I think he has the ability to do that.
Well, he has, but their offense is so old, and they're not really that
so
good.
Versatile. Yeah,
not good defensively. Pau Gasol can't cover Ryan Anderson.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem though is losing Tony Parker, because he was their second option. Because LaMarcus Aldridge he's not himself. Something's wrong. I think it's his knees.
In 4 games, he's played well once in 4 games this series.
Yeah, he's just not the same guy. So I always bet on Pop. Whenever I have a chance to, I take Pop. That's just me personally. You guys know much about Pop.
No, I agree. And on the other side, Nene is out, and he's had a really nice postseason, especially in this series. He's done for the rest of this postseason.
Yeah.
Either way, it doesn't matter because
I don't know, but Clint Capella is a good center still, and
Capella's a good player.
I just can't see the Spurs keeping up through Kawhi. If he can physically handle both ends of the court at an all-star level enough to carry them through the Rockets, I've been selling him short.
Yeah, they need Danny Green and Patty Mills to step up. That's what they need.
I'm gonna lean on with Mel here and think it's dumb to bet against Pop, but it's gonna be a good series. Could end up going. Go ahead, Rob.
I said Rockets in 7. What do you guys have it as?
I'll go Spurs in 7.
I think Spurs in 7 as well. But
it can go either way though.
Yeah, it's like the most boring, exciting series because it's just blowouts, but it's gonna go 7. It's just it's kind of boring, but kind of interesting at the same time.
Another series that's just like that is the Wizards and the Celtics, and it been huge margin of victories in every game, but except with the Spurs and the Rockets, both teams have been blown out at home. It's been the home teams winning in blowout fashion in this series. So what happens in this one? Like, it's kind of weird. Does it just stick with the pattern and the home team wins every game? So Boston in 7, or what do you guys think?
I think Bell and I are on the same page with this take. Is that as great as Isaiah Thomas is, John Wall's the best player in this series, and he's gonna control this series. Like, I think I have Wizards in 7 because I think John Wall can step up and carry the Washington through Boston.
They can't win on the road, though. They had a losing record on the road this year, like a lot of NBA teams do. But they haven't shown the ability to win on the road, especially in Boston.
I think if their biggest issues, I really dislike their head coach Scott Brooks. I don't think he's good at in-game adjustments. If you watch Boston play, Brad Stevens is such a genius. The offense is strictly set up to get Isaiah Thomas good looks, like despite his 5'7" size, and
yeah.
They'll just have constant screens being run and getting him mismatches where like they'll have Horford run a screen, so Gortat switches onto him, and he'll have a step on Gortat, and he's gonna burn by Gortat or Markieff Morris all day. Stevens just built the offense to run these screens to get Isaiah Thomas these looks, and Scott Brooks isn't making in-game adjustments. He should be going to a smaller lineup, getting quicker guys than Gortat on the court. Markieff Morris isn't that fast either. If they're going to continue to run these switches off the screens, and I think if Scott Brooks can wake up, this series is Washington's because John Wall is the best player in this series. And if Bradley Beal can be more consistent, because you'll see him go for 12, then he'll go for 29. He's pretty inconsistent.
What do you think, Mel?
I actually think the Wizards in 6. I think they steal the next game in Boston. They win at home. I think, keep in mind, Washington was dominating Game 2 until they blew it down the stretch. Like they're the better team. The Celtics are the 1 seed, but I think the Wizards are a better team. I think, like Rob said, John Wall is the best player they have in the series. He's putting up crazy numbers. Like his playoffs are he's like LeBron for me right now in the playoffs. Like he's unreal. I honestly think the Wizards can push the Cavs to 5 or 6, which is saying a lot actually. So I also think the Wizards are a better matchup against the Cavs in the finals. So I prefer to see that.
I mean, give me the Celtics in 7 because the Wizards haven't shown the ability to win on the road, and that's it. You mentioned the Cavs. Let's talk about that series that's already over as well. Another clean sweep, 4-0, the Cavs over the Raps. They were just toying with them. There was a huge mismatch. The Raps had the lead in the fourth game, in the fourth quarter, but Kyrie went on an 11-0 run by himself. Any thoughts about this series at all?
Predictable.
Yeah,
the Cavs are just too good, man. LeBron is too good.
The Raptors,
the Raptors are a better team than last year, but I just think the Cavs are just crazy. It's impossible to beat them in the playoffs.
The Raptors did their inconsistent, show up for the playoffs, have Lowry and DeRozan be inconsistent. Lowry
and hurt.
Lowry, I swear the guy's never been more than 80% for the playoffs in his career.
Yeah,
his body just turns on him late in the season. You can't I'm not trying to harp on him. It's not his fault that his body's breaking down, but he's not the same player in game 95 as he is in game 35.
All right, and that being said, what would have to happen for it not to be a Cavs Warriors finals?
LeBron literally breaks his leg
or retires
in the next round.
He retires mid playoffs.
Signs to the Cleveland Browns because Sashi Brown convinced him.
How about some sort of Space Jam situation where a ball sucks all their ability out or something like that?
Does that make the Celtics the Monstars or whoever, Wizards or the Celtics? They're the Monstars then?
No. I'm just rambling about the Monstars, Casey. I appreciate it.
That's all I have to add to this entire conversation.
And the answer is no.
Listen to LeBron's playoff stats right now. He leads the team in every category but rebounds. He's averaging 34 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, a block and a half. He's also shooting 55% from the field and 46% from three. LeBron's not considered a good three-point shooter. If you watch him, most of his work's done within the three-point line during the season. And he's shooting 46% in the playoffs. It's insane. And he's shooting 6 threes a game.
Yeah, but why isn't he leading the team in rebounds? He's garbage.
Tristan Thompson is from Brampton, that's why.
Brampton is known as the factory of athletes.
The number 2 overall pick in the CFL draft, Brampton again, out of Iowa. Can't remember his name. We touched about it earlier, but let's talk about the Toronto Raptors a little bit more, and let's give them a little bit of their focus, because we are in Toronto. And a couple questions. Can this team win in its current form? Do they need to rebuild, maybe retool, stick the course, add pieces? What do you guys think?
I think like Masai, I don't know you guys read about his press conference today or anything, but he said the biggest thing I took was he said we need a culture change, and to me that means we need changes in this team. So I think it could be Dwayne Casey's gone. I think Lowry's gone. I don't know. I think this team's going to start to rebuild. I don't see us competing with the upper teams in the NBA with this roster personally.
Nope. Fair enough. How about you, Rob?
Well, first of all, I think they should consider moving on from Dwayne Casey, even though he's their most successful coach in team history. Because
whoa, I said this so many times to you, and you're always like, no, Dwayne Casey's the best coach in franchise history.
I'm back and forth on it because I think it needs to be the right. They need the right guy set up fully to take the job before they move on from Dwayne Casey. And I like the idea of hiring the Warriors assistant coach Ron Adams. I know he's really old. He's like almost 70, but he's like the most well-regarded assistant coach in the NBA. He's been around all kinds of offenses, and he's seen like small ball take place right in front of his eyes. And I think that's the direction the Raptors need to move into. And also, moving on from Lowry, especially if he's seeking a max contract, just let him walk. Let him sign. Let him sign with the Spurs or the Bucks or wherever Chris Paul doesn't sign. And also move on from Damari Carroll, JV, and Patrick Patterson.
Those are tough contracts to get rid of.
I like
though.
Patterson.
He was so bad in the playoffs though. He was in his own head. He was afraid to shoot.
I think
I like him too. But...
Rookie from UNLV. What's his name? Pat Siakam.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's a younger, cheaper version of Patrick Patterson.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm attached to Patterson just because since the Rudy Gay trade, when he came over from Sacramento, it's just like he's been our guy off the bench. He's been like that glue guy.
Don't let bias trick your mind.
I mean, I want to get rid of Lowry, so I don't think letting bias trick my mind. I love Lowry. I think he's a top 5 player in franchise history as far as I'm concerned. And
I mean, I agree, but they have a really tough choice with Lowry. Like Rob was saying, his body is kind of breaking down with him. He's going into his age 32 season. He was you can't give him
$200 million. There's no way. That's crazy.
And
exactly,
for a guy who's 31.
he was a captain of.
I think a big key is giving Norm Powell real starter playing time at small forward this upcoming year.
It's very true.
He's done everything to deserve it, and he's looked very good. And you might as well give him a shot. Like, I don't know. It just seems silly to just drag this team back again. Winning 50 games is great and all, but they're not getting past the Cavs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we build around DeMar, Powell, Siakam? Like, if we get PJ Tucker back and try and get Ibaka back, can you build a team with like Corey Joseph as your starting point guard? I think that's a successful team, though.
Here's my other thing I've talked myself into. I really, really want them to bring in a young point guard. My personal favorite choice is Yogi Ferrell from the Mavs. Just like Ferrell's not a great guy, like great player. He averaged like 10 points or something for the Mavs last year, but he's a 3-point shooter. He plays really fast. I think getting a guy like that just to like kind of reset the franchise, because I get how great it is that we're from a city where our team is in the playoffs every year, winning 50 games every year, but in this NBA, what's the point? Like, it sounds very pessimistic, but what's the point?
No, I agree with you, but I'm just not sure. like if a lot of fans do, it's going to be tough. Like if they go full rebound, they're not good for the next 5 years at least. It's going to be hard for the fans to stick with the team. It's a hard call, right? Like, but I agree with you fully. What's the point of throwing this team back out there on the court and just losing in the second round, maybe even the first round, like they have so many times? What's the point? You play to win the game. You just gotta hope LeBron gets old quickly. Like that's the only hope if you're gonna stick with this team.
I like what Rob said about Yogi Ferrell bringing in a guy, because outside of Lowry, I think our second best three-point shooter is Ibaka. Like this team thrives in the mid-range, and it's ISO, it's mid-range. It's not today's NBA. This is like DeMar's like our version of Kobe in 07. Like he's just out there jacking up shots in the mid-range. It's not the NBA now. We need 4 or 5 solid three-point shooters. If you want to build around DeMar, surround him with shooters so he can play in the post and kick it out. Like that's what you need to do if you want to build around DeMar.
That's the other thing. In today's NBA, where it's a three-point shooting fest in a small ball league, do you really want your best player to be a guy who's playing like the 1990s style, get to the free throw line, just attack from the mid-range and slash? He doesn't fit today's NBA. And I know he's obviously the best player we have and the second best player in franchise history, but can you win with that as your best player? Not a chance.
No, DeMar on a championship team is like a third option, I think.
He's a fifth option on the Warriors.
Yeah, that's true. Well, offensively, he's better than Draymond if you put him on the war, in terms of scoring.
Draymond does more offensively all around though.
Yeah, Draymond's a utility knife.
All right, let's move on. We'll see what happens with the Raptors. Let's get to the NHL playoffs, and we'll start in the West again. And the only series that's already over so far was the Preds winning in 6 games over the Blues, just like I predicted in 2 episodes ago. So, and the way the Preds have been playing, they're a bit of a Cinderella, but they look like they can actually compete for the cup. What do you guys think?
The way that the team has turned it around behind Pecorine is incredible. If you look at his playoff numbers, in 10 games he's 8-2 with a 95 save percentage and a 1.37 goals against average with 2 shutouts. And their defense has also stepped up a ton as well. The 3 of their top 5 scoring players in the playoffs are defensemen.
Yeah, you see them, like, this is a winning formula right now. You have Pecorine standing on his head, and that alone, like we've seen throughout history, is enough to win the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yep, absolutely.
But then, like, they're playing this defensive game that, like, even when they lost to the Blues in this past series, like, the games would be, like, 2-1. I think they lost the first one 4-3, but, like, the other loss was 2-1. Like, they're playing these defensive battles, and that's how you play playoff hockey. And
games that they could have won easily, too.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's move on to the Ducks and the Oilers series, which is Game 7 tomorrow night, or depending on when you're listening to this, it's tomorrow night for us. And it's been a crazy series. After blowing a 3-0 lead in the last 4 minutes and losing in double overtime, the Oilers responded with a 7-1 game to force Game 7. What do you guys think about the Game 7 and this series as a whole?
This is the most excited I've been for a hockey game since I got excited last night for Caps Penguins Game 7.
That's a long time.
Good analysis, Rob.
But I think
hashtag analysis.
The Oilers, I think, are going to take Game 7, carried by the heroics of Connor McDavid. I'm thinking he goes for a Hattie. They win 4-3.
Wait, but going back 2 episodes ago, who had the Oilers in 7? I can't remember.
Yeah, who had the Ducks winning the cup or something? Probably me.
Yeah, we'll see you.
I think it's a battle of the veterans of the Ducks versus the full steam ahead youngins of the Oilers. Like it's kind of cool. Like this series has been decided by an insane amount of goals. Like I think there's been one game in the series so far that didn't have 7 goals scored in the game total. So if it's another game like that, then I would honestly bet on the Oilers because I think that offense can score all day. But if it's a closer, like lower scoring game, the Ducks are probably going to take it.
So Casey's analysis is either team could win.
Yeah, it's called fence sitting.
Yeah, welcome to hockey, Rob. Either team can win any given Sunday, baby. I think I take the Oilers in this game. I think their biggest problem to me though is Nugent Hopkins needs to get it together. Like, he's been useless all playoffs, which sucks. He's supposed to be their number 2 center, and he just hasn't played like it. If he can get his game going, I think they'll win the cup. I think if he gets his game going.
Wow.
You can't put that much on his plate. Like, the kid's still 12.
Dude, this is like his 5th year in the league.
Yeah, Connor McDavid's like 35.
He started when he was 18, so he's still in his early 20s, but he's just not playing well.
And McDavid's 19.
Their captain is 19.
Yeah, I think it comes down to whatever goalie plays better, really. Like, the goalies haven't been that bad in this series despite giving up so many goals. Like, Gibson's had his lapses, but whatever goalie plays better is going to win the game, I think. And I'm going to stick with Edmonton in 7. Moving on, next series, let's move to the East. And the game that's going on tonight. So this is going to sound very stupid for everyone not listening tonight because no one will be listening tonight. So I'll just ask you guys, are we getting a Game 7? And if so, who takes it?
We're getting a Game 7, baby. Let me give it to ya. The Rangers are going to force a Game 7 tonight. And because of Henrik Lundqvist, he's going to carry them tonight. And they're going to take it all in Game 7.
All right. Anyone else?
I take the Senators this game, personally.
Okay.
Yeah, me too. There's no sense adding analysis in my mind.
Yeah, what if I told you I just checked the score and it's already 2-0 Ottawa?
2-0 Ottawa. That's why I said it, because I saw the score.
I haven't seen the score. I was going to pick the Sens, even though I went Rangers in 6.
Well, I'm glad I did that. I should have had the Sens game on instead of the Rockets-Spurs game.
All right. And lastly, and definitely not leastly, good English, sticking with it, the Caps and the Pens. Game 7. The Caps were down 3-1 in the series after losing a game to the Crosby-less Penguins. They kind of looked done, and then the Penguins looked terrible in the last game. Sluggish. They had 18 shots on net last night. And the funny thing is, we all like the Pens, and we are all ready for the topic of this series to be shit on the Caps. So who's going to take this Game 7?
Well, since Ovi and Crosby were drafted, the Caps have played in 9 Game 7s, and they're 3-6 in those games.
Ooh.
So just based on the stats, I would say the Pens are likely to take it.
And Ovi hasn't shown up, really. Like, they scored 5 goals yesterday. Ovi didn't assist or score any of them.
I think the Caps kind of flipped this switch. They just all they seem to do just bully Crosby as frequently as possible, and Marc-Andre Fleury's just shooting the Penguins in their own foot.
But I mean, you got to respect like Fleury coming up and performing so well after him not even expecting to be the starter. No, like Murray got hurt.
I know, but in warm-ups. Last game he looked terrible, and
yeah, like the whole team was bad though. Like they had 18 shots on goal. They looked super sluggish.
I mean, being down 3-1 and then allowing the comeback, you lose so much momentum. All the momentum's to the Caps now. Definitely. It's their year. They're taking Game 7.
Oh, okay. What do you think, Mel?
I think the Penguins do their best Warriors impression, and they lose it in 7, blowing a 3-1 lead.
All right, I'm gonna go with the Penguins getting out of this nosedive and winning the series.
One thing you have to look out for is Sid Crosby's taking a couple hits to the noggin.
Oh, buddy!
This series.
How did he stay in last game?
If that guy gets one more conky, he's gonna look like Mark Savard.
It's hockey, boys.
Or Casey Fleming.
Hockey, you play through it, boys. Bar down. Get her done.
Savard can't even pronounce his own name at this point.
Is that who you aspire to be, Casey?
One day, fingers crossed.
We can't double down on the concussion Casey talk. We did it last week.
Commit to the bid.
All right, on that terrible note, let's take a commercial break. And when we come back, we'll talk about the Kentucky Derby. Stay with us. From the Emmy Award-winning writers of Draft Day and Miami Vice comes a story. When a girl from Atlantic Canada is sent to the University of Miami, all hell breaks loose. And what happens when Ray Lewis comes back to campus to visit? Find out on Anne of Coral Gables, Tuesdays at 8, only on CBC. All right, welcome back from the break, and now we're talking Kentucky Derby. Rob, what do you got?
So, it was race time. The horses were out. Tom Brady was out. I put all my money on that pirate-themed horse Patchy, who has an eye patch, and I lost it all.
Horses ran, horse won. Enough analysis. Now let's move on and talk about some bean balls. And, Melvin, I know you're new to the show and everything, but you gotta turn your phone off, dude. Come on.
That's not me, man.
Casey?
No, it's not me.
Rob, fuck, man. Come on.
I don't own a phone.
Oh, our producers have notified me that it's actually the show phone, which, I mean, doesn't even make any sense. This is not a call-in show. It's not even live. Like, that doesn't make any sense. But, I guess I'll answer it. Hello?
Who's this now?
You're calling us. It's the Rest in the Starters podcast.
Long time caller. First time listener. D'Antoni here.
Hi, D'Antoni. What are you calling us
The
for?
D'Antoni?
Yeah, the coach?
This is Detective D'Antoni.
Wait, are we in trouble with the police or something? Like, why are you calling us?
I have a question.
Like a sports question?
Well, the New Orleans Pelicans, my hometown team, their GM is Mickey Loomis.
Yeah?
While the New Orleans Saints GM is Mickey Loomis.
I don't think he's their GM, but yeah, continue.
They're both run by the same man, Mickey Loomis.
Yeah, okay, that's true. Well, is there a question here?
If the Pelicans draft Sam Darnold and the Saints draft Lonzo Ball, could they just swap them?
Like, so have Darnold play for the Saints and Lonzo play for the Pelicans?
Correct.
Well, I mean, Lonzo's eligible for this NBA draft, and the NFL draft has already passed, but I guess you got the supplemental draft. I don't... Does this check out? Does this make sense, guys?
Let me do the math on that one real quick.
Rain Man.
Yeah, that's possible.
All right. D'Antoni, welcome to the show, I guess. Any other questions? Asked and answered? Well, like, can you hang up now?
Like, I'm still just baffled by that first question.
It's mind-boggling.
Who's to say that Mickey Loomis isn't like two midgets hiding under a coat anyways at this
Please.
point? Like, how can he really be two GMs?
No.
It's little people.
I
No?
put those midgets away.
Please, everybody, it's little people. Come on. This is 2014, guys. Come on. Detective D'Antoni, are you still on the line?
Beep, 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 beep.
I guess not. That was really strange. I don't even know how we got a call, but I really hope this doesn't open things up for more weirdos to call the show randomly. So please do not call the show, even though our number is 855-212-4321. Do not call the show. Never call the show. I didn't even know we had a phone. Let's move on. Let's talk about some bean balls now. And after what happened in Beantown, if you will.
And I won't.
Oh, okay. I'm so
I
sorry.
will.
Okay, thank you, Casey. We need to ask, does throwing at guys in retaliation have any place in today's game of baseball?
No, it's so stupid.
Why is that?
Okay, like, I get you want to defend your teammates and send a message, but it's baseball. It's not even a contact sport. Like, why do they waste their time getting all caught up in this dumb stuff? Like, sometimes, sure, you lose your temper and they do it, whatever, but it hurts the team more than it helps, and it's just so ridiculous that they, like, plan it out and do it continually, and, like, I just don't understand it whatsoever. You're playing baseball.
As a baseball traditionalist, I live my life by the unwritten rules of baseball. So I believe that they deserve what's coming to them. I believe that you shouldn't celebrate anything that you achieve in your life. And I also believe that there should not be a DH. So I think it's fair.
I think it's extremely stupid as well. Like, Rob, you brought up a lot of good points, so I'm not gonna go further on those. I totally agree. But, like, what happens if one day a guy actually snaps and runs out to the mound with a bat? Like,
That was Machado brought that up.
Yeah.
I like that he brought that up.
Exactly.
He said he'd be suspended for a whole season. He'd be kicked out of the league.
Yeah, exactly. Man,
It's crazy.
watch what happened to Machado. It's like so stupid. Get over it. Like Machado was kind of a dick, and he celebrates and he does whatever, but he's killing their team because he's so good. And rather than them worry about winning, they're worrying about beating him. Like, why are they wasting their time thinking about this?
And they're giving him a free base.
Yeah.
Yeah. The worst part was that after he hit Pedroia, he apologized. You could see him apologizing. He felt bad. He tried to help him up. Like, it's not like he did it and then walked away like, I'm a man. I just took this guy out. Like, he felt bad about it.
Well, he gave him the old "how's she going" first too, which was pretty courteous.
He's a good guy. Good guy like that.
I don't think Sale tried to throw at him on purpose. He may have, but I don't know. I think Machado just like it's kind of all in his head. But then, of course, it actually, resulted in some sort of weird feud. Like
and the concept of throwing a baseball at somebody,
yeah, it's like assault with a deadly
100 miles
weapon.
an hour, like that is just so insane to me. Like what, is going through your mind that you think this is a great idea?
Like we said earlier, it's 2005. We know about concussions now.
What was going through Chris Sale's mind when he was cutting up those jerseys in Chicago?
Rob, they were uncomfortable. He didn't like them. He wasn't even pitching that day, right?
Hey, I'd do anything to get out of a White Sox jersey too.
That's
Fair enough.
Come on, guys.
Anything else to add about beanballs at all?
I'm not actually a baseball traditionalist. I totally agree with what Rob said.
Baseball players, don't do it. Enjoy the game. This isn't the NFL. This isn't the no fun league. Celebrate your home runs. Don't throw baseballs at people, and just have a good time playing America's pastime.
In the wise words of Bryce Harper, make baseball fun again.
And that goes out to all the major leaguers listening to the show. We know there's lots of them.
Honestly, I'm on board with players celebrating walks. Like if you bat flip a walk, I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, I think the keepers of the game is really stupid. Like there's a line between going overboard and like having good sportsmanship and having fun. Like you can have fun and celebrate when you win. Like getting upset at Jose for flipping a bat when he's winning a series or whatever. You know what I mean? That's outrageous. Like it's stupid.
Like we saw during the World Baseball Classic, like all of the players kind of took it a little bit less seriously, and they were all having so much more fun, and that made it a lot better to watch overall.
No, definitely.
Like they weren't getting upset over a bat flip. They weren't punching people in the face. They weren't throwing at each other.
Yeah.
There's also Stroman celebrating 2 weeks ago, and Pujols got upset by it.
Yeah.
The Jays have been terrible this year, and Stroman pitched a complete game, carries his team, and he's happy for it, happy to get the win, and Pujols is upset that he's celebrating a victory. It's insane. I don't understand it.
No, I totally agree. Like Stroman, if you're going to celebrate, go ahead, but it is kind of dumb celebrating a win when you're down 10 games, but 10 games under 500. But the actual
what else are you supposed to celebrate at that point?
That's why he's celebrating, man.
That's true. That's true. But I mean, you're supposed to sit and be sad for 5 months now. Once you're out of it in baseball, it's the worst. I'm kidding, by the way. Anything else, guys? No? Okay. The last feature for our show is going to be our first ever game segment. And the game is called Test Your Knowledge. That was bad. But I'll explain the rules of the game since you guys don't even know how this works. And how this works is I'm going to give 5 clues about one NFL player, current or past. You don't know. It's going to start out vague / difficult, and it's going to get easier and easier as it goes along. And you get the amount of points corresponding to which clue you answer. So if you answer the first clue, you get 5 points. Answer the second clue, you get 4, so on and so on, till if you answer the 5th clue, you get 1 point. The winner of this, so whoever accrues the most points, will receive a special prize and, of course, bragging rights. Everyone understand?
Nope, not really.
I'm at a large disadvantage because compared to you three, I know nothing about football.
Shut up, Mel.
I might get 0.
Good.
I ain't afraid no ghost.
Oh yeah. So and it's free for all. Like you guys can just answer. It's free for all. Okay.
After we buzz.
Yeah, please buzz.
Yeah,
in.
of course.
Can I play the odds and say the same person every time?
Is that playing the odds?
Yeah, that's the opposite of playing the odds.
Now that I say it, it doesn't sound very smart. Now I've said it out loud.
It makes sense.
All right, let's start the game. So this is gonna be player number 1. All the clues are about the same player. Okay. If you don't, you can go wild guess. You just gotta buzz in. If you don't have an answer, don't say anything.
Always buzz.
Always buzz. Clue number 1. I was born on February 12th, 1990, in Okinawa, Japan.
Russell Wilson.
Wait,
buzz.
That's correct. No, that's correct. No, I'm kidding.
Are you supposed to buzz first or buzz after you say the answer?
Definitely.
Buzz, Russell Wilson.
That's incorrect.
Buzz, Deion Jordan.
That's
Wait, was
also
that-
incorrect.
Was that right?
No, of course not. Let's move on. Clue number 2. I rushed for 815 yards and 7 touchdowns my rookie season after over 2,000. Go ahead.
Robert Griffin, the third.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
That is absolutely correct. That's 4 points for Rob. The rest,
amazing.
the rest of the clues were I was the first player in Big Four history, so NHL, NBA, you know what I'm talking about, to wear a Roman numeral on my jersey. And lastly,
I would have gotten that.
yeah, well, that's why Rob's better than you. And lastly, I was the 2011 Heisman Trophy winner and the number 2 overall pick in the 2012 draft.
Wasn't
So
he
that is-
born in Japan because his dad was in the army or something?
Yeah, both his parents were in the Army.
Yeah, okay. I knew it. I knew it was a quarterback.
Wait, so all 5 hints are about the same person?
Yeah, that's how
Yeah.
it works.
Oh, so the game's over.
No, we got 2 more.
Oh, okay, sorry. I was gonna say.
All right.
Thanks for joining us, Mel.
I also thought it was over and I had won.
Thank you.
Next player. Clue number 1. I was born in Orlando, Florida in 1985 and was only a 2-star recruit.
Buzz.
So specific.
What's up? What's your answer, Mel?
Antonio Brown.
That is incorrect.
Buzz. Buzz.
How old do you think he is?
Buzz.
I don't know.
It's 1985.
AJ.
And
Buzz.
yeah, Rob, answer please.
Brandon Marshall.
That's incorrect. Any answer, Casey?
Jim Harbaugh.
Absolutely incorrect. Clue number 2. I was a first-round pick in 2008 and have played for 3 NFL teams.
Buzz.
Yep.
Oh no. This is. It's not. This doesn't make sense.
Answer, please.
3 NFL teams. 2008. Was he good? Probably not. Buster Davis.
Yep, that's incorrect. Anything else?
Buzz.
Yep, what's up?
Jake Long.
Nope, that's incorrect. That's a good guess, though. Melvin?
Did you say?
Wait.
Did you say first round pick?
Yeah.
Buzz.
Okay.
Antonio Brown.
No.
That must
You
be
are
right.
really not understanding this.
Clue number 3. I've rushed for 1,000 yards 6 times in my career and had 814 yards in 2015, but only 95 last season.
Buzz.
Oh my God.
Casey?
Buzz.
Darren McFadden.
Incorrect. Rob?
What?
Jonathan Stewart.
Incorrect. Melvin?
Say again.
I know who it is. I know who it is.
I've rushed for
Buzz!
1,000. No,
Buzz!
It's Melvin's Buzz.
Buzz.
Adrian Peterson.
That is incorrect. Wait for the next clue,
job.
please.
He's on 2 teams.
Wait, do you have to finish your sentence?
No, I do not. Once I start the clue, you can buzz in.
Rob, let me finish the sentence. Come on, man.
I ran for
Buzz!
2,000.
Buzz.
Casey?
Is it Antonio Brown?
No.
Oh my
Oh,
god,
I
thank
was
God.
gonna say
Buzz.
that.
Buzz.
Rob?
Is it Chris Johnson?
Absolutely correct. It was
Yeah.
CJ2K.
Who was second? Who was the second team?
The Jets for 1 year.
Oh yeah, I was trying to think of who was the third
Why
team
did I
would've been.
guess
Okay.
Jonathan Stewart after knowing the guy had played for 3 teams?
Why did I guess Adrian Peterson is the real question?
Why did you guess Antonio Brown twice?
And the last clue was I ran for 2,000 yards in 2009, and I ran a 4.24
Buzz.
at the combine. Yeah, what's your answer, Mel?
Buzz.
Mel?
Antonio Brown.
John-
That's
Ross.
incorrect. All right, our last player. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Clue number 1. I was born in Pasco, Washington in 1978, but grew up in New Mexico.
It's so weird.
What?
That's just
Buzz.
Melvin?
What year is it again?
78.
Antonio Brown.
Incorrect. Anyone else?
Oh my god, I know who it is.
Answer.
No way.
Buzz.
Yep.
Is it Brian Urlacher?
That's absolutely correct.
Wow.
Wait, did you Google that?
No, because he played at New Mexico, and he's the only guy I could think who played college ball in New Mexico.
Even though I didn't say you went to college there, but yeah, good work.
But I figured most guys generally stay in state.
Yep.
Especially back then.
How could I know Rob wasn't cheating?
Because I know everything about the NFL. And
Antonio Brown
I guess Jonathan Stewart on a thing about a guy who played for 3 teams.
All right, Rob has 10 points. You guys have 0 points. And that's the end of the game. The rest of the clues were I was a top 10 pick in the 2000 draft, and I'm a member of the College Football Hall of Fame. Clue number 3 was I was an 8-time Pro Bowler and only played for 1 team. And clue number 4 is my number 44 was retired by New Mexico, but wore 54 with the Bears. That would have been very easy.
Yeah.
Are you saying that I finished in second?
Antonio Brown.
Fun fact, Brian Urlacher played safety in college, and he returned kicks and punts sometimes.
That is a very fun fact, Rob. Thank you. Yeah,
Fun fact. Jay Cutler looks good with a cigarette in his mouth.
and on that note, let's wrap the show. That will do it for this episode of the Rest of the Starters. Before we go, let's let the guys plug their stuff. Rob, what do you got?
Hey, visit armchairallamericans.com. I just put out a Rams draft grade primer, and we all love the Rams. Hopefully coming
Not
out
true.
with a 2018 quarterback peak this week.
Good rhyme. Casey, you got anything to plug?
No.
Sounds so sad.
How about you, Mel? Anything to plug?
I highly recommend plugging your phone in every night before you go to bed so it charges well.
It's a good answer.
So it isn't dead in the morning, because that's the worst.
All right. And you can follow us on Twitter at RTSPod. Hit us up with any and all takes, questions, whatever you got to maybe be next week's Tweet of the Week. You can check us out on our site, restinthestarters.podiant.co. Sometimes we got stuff up there, and sometimes we don't. And you can also get to know the hosts better. Like and review us on iTunes. You can even check us out on the YouTubes.
I gave it 3 stars on iTunes.
Oh, thank you. That any little bit helps. That's fine. It's better than 2. So for Casey Fleming and Rob Paul and Melvin Nolan, I'm me, Adrian Marchese, saying goodbye, alligator.
Sports.
Sit and don't move anything but your mouth during this.
I've heard that before.
All right,
Okay, I'm sorry,
where
I'm
were
ready.
we?
I'm good. I apologize, I'm sorry.
Okay, where were we?
What were you saying, Rob?
I have no idea.